Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm going to get started with our presentation for today. So good morning and good afternoon. Thank you for joining this webinar hosted by the DOE Office of Manufacturing and Energy Supply Chains, or MESC. My name is Laura Graham, a Supply Chain Deployment Manager with MESC. In this live webinar, staff from the DOE Office of Manufacturing and Energy Supply Chains, MESC, will review two competitive grant programs funded by the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law that recently completed initial rounds of funding. The State Manufacturing Leadership Program supports states to establish or expand programs, small and medium-sized manufacturers to access smart manufacturing technologies. The State and Local Program for Battery Collection, Recycling, and Reprocessing Program assists states and units of local government in the establishment or enhancement of battery collection, recycling, and reprocessing. Managers from both programs will describe the past funding rounds and highlight expected program impacts. Then grant awardees and other guests will speak to the importance of manufacturing and battery recycling. Attendees will have a chance to ask questions and receive links to newsletters and the websites where they can learn more, including information about future funding opportunities from MESC under these or other programs. Before we dive in, this WebEx is being recorded and may be posted on DOE's website or used internally. Participation in today's webinar does not confer any advantages or disadvantages to any future program application evaluation processes. All future applicants are strongly encouraged to carefully read any upcoming funding opportunity announcements, FOAs, and adhere to any stated submission requirements. There will be a question and answer session near the end of today's webinar. Any questions that cannot be addressed in real time can be submitted to the relevant inbox. Today, we will discuss an overview of MESC and what the role of the office plays within the Department of Energy, the Manufacturing Leadership Program, the State Manufacturing Leadership Program, the Battery Collection, Recycling, and Reprocessing Program, ways to stay connected and learn of future announcements, and at the end, as I mentioned before, as time permits, we can answer some of the questions that may be asked in the Q&A section here in this chat. Please know that we will be limited in the questions we will be able to answer, given that not all projects selected under the first round of these programs have been awarded yet, and neither program has currently available funding opportunity. If you have questions during the presentation, please enter it into the chat, which can be seen by all of the presenters, and we will answer what we may. So getting into things, we'll zoom out to a high level. Secretary Granholm highlighted 4 pillars of the clean energy industrial policy. The first pillar supports government-enabled and private sector-led investments in manufacturing and labor capacity of the clean energy sector. The second focuses on the industrial development within communities such as Justice 40 and energy communities. The third pays attention to policy investing in American labor to have competitive skills. The fourth, by supporting R&D to bring in innovative clean energy technology to market. With these 4 pillars in mind, we can now look at what the Office of Manufacturing and Supply Chain's role is. On the left, you see the MESC vision. We are focused on delivering the how of the energy transition. We address linkages and connections to transition to a clean energy economy and work to address vulnerabilities in the U.S. clean energy supply chains at the commercial scale. On the right, you see MESC's core functions or building blocks to achieve this vision. First is investing in manufacturing capacity that are making energy products and battery recycling process essential to our energy economy. Second, by investing in workforce or these people that are doing the engineering and doing the manufacturing work through partnering with academic institutions and funding workforce development programs. Underpinning these manufacturing and workforce investments is the analytical backbone seen cutting across the bottom. MESC has an in-house analytics team focused on energy supply chain and industrial decarbonization. Cutting-edge energy supply chain vulnerability analysis to help identify supply chain gaps where MESC's investment have the largest impact. We are accomplishing this through the deployment of over $20 billion of funding from Bill and IRA and DPA in a wide variety of grant and tax credit programs for everyone from small and medium manufacturers to OEMs and universities and community colleges, and last but not least, the state and local governments. The DOE supports a spectrum of technology development through demonstration and deployment stage as depicted on the graphic on the right. Starting at the bottom left corner of the graph, we have the offices such as ARPA-E and EERE funding early research and R&D stages. Moving across the commercialization and up the technology readiness level, from the bottom left of that graph, moving upwards and to the right, you see the DOE supports, then it crosses over that blue line into the demonstration and deployment phase. MESC is there in that, past that blue line in that blue bar, and MESC focuses on the commercialized products that manufacturers can bring to consumers in the here and now. MESC sits in the commercialization stage when it is time to spend money and take the action and the risk building an at-scale factory. The private sector investor may not be willing to take on all of that risk, and MESC funding is designed to reduce some of that risk load and accelerate manufacturing development. Now that you understand what MESC is, importantly, let's dive into what impact has this had already. We are excited to say that the de-risking at the commercial scale has catalyzed more than $3.9 billion in private sector investment. Next, you see the jobs number, and we are really focused on growing the pool of good jobs in the clean energy economy, opening the path to individuals with different career backgrounds who might be at the start of their career or mid-career or may not have a 4-year degree. We track how many products we enable within the with US-made components. And across these various programs and projects, we are already having tremendous impact on job creation, workforce development, and clean energy manufacturing capacity, all while ensuring the benefits from our projects are flowing back to communities, and in particular, disadvantaged communities in support of the administration's Justice 40 initiative. I'm just going to pause on this map for everyone to see for a second. To date, MESC has awarded 84 Bill IRA grants across 38 states with over $2 billion in funding released. We are supporting with construction or retrofitting currently underway, and 16 more are in the pipeline. Of note, as we will discuss in the following slides, we have over $29 million invested directly with state and local governments across 18 projects. And now, Alex Hydrian, Supply Chain Deployment Manager, will present the State Manufacturing and Leadership Program. Alex.
Great. Thank you, Laura, and hi, everyone. Glad to join you today and discuss the State Manufacturing Leadership Program. So the State Manufacturing Leadership Program is a $50 million program funded through the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. The program provides awards in the form of grants for up to $2 million to states to create new or expand existing programs to support small and medium-sized manufacturers in either implementing smart manufacturing technologies and practices or facilitating access to high-performance computing resources. As I mentioned, each award can be for up to $2 million for a project of up to 3 years and has to have at least a 30% cost match. Or put another way, for every $3 committed by a project team, the project would be eligible for $10 in federal funds, an over 3 times multiple. Before we go further, I just want to briefly discuss what we mean by smart manufacturing and high-performance computing and why we care about it. Here's how the program defines smart manufacturing, as well as just a few examples. Smart manufacturing technologies include everything from sensors or controllers to measure and operate equipment or processes, to machine learning and artificial intelligence to provide simulations of and real-time adjustment to processes and production lines, and much more. They allow manufacturers to simulate production lines, operate manufacturing equipment, monitor and communicate with production lines, and manage and optimize energy productivity, ultimately resulting in reduced manufacturing costs and increased competitiveness. High-performance computing, or the use of supercomputers, sophisticated models, and/or large data sets to study and solve complex scientific and technological challenges, provides similar benefits to manufacturers as smart manufacturing technologies. This higher-level modeling and analysis can provide extremely valuable insight into material or process improvements, which can result in safer design testing, increased material production and energy efficiency through faster error detection, better quality control, and more efficient product design. And all of this ultimately, again, leading to lower production costs and greater competitiveness for our manufacturers. The program has 4 strategic goals. First, this program aims to increase competitiveness of the domestic manufacturing base. In order to compete globally, the United States must rapidly develop and implement innovative manufacturing technologies. As discussed on the previous slide, implementation of smart manufacturing technologies and the use of high-performance computing modeling can directly result in this increased competitiveness for our manufacturers. Second, this program aims to reduce industrial emissions for a net zero economy. As you may or may not be aware, the U.S. manufacturing sector accounts for over 70% of total industrial energy consumption. Accelerating the adoption of smart manufacturing technologies in energy-intensive manufacturing industries can decrease this footprint by moving technologies that can improve both manufacturing capability and efficiency into the mainstream. Third, this program aims to equitably develop the American industrial workforce. Workforce training has been identified as a leading barrier to the uptake of smart manufacturing technologies among small and medium-sized manufacturers. Funding through this program can help states increase the training capacity of existing state, local, and regional workforce development programs with a focus on smart manufacturing. Finally, the program aims to advance a robust and integrated support system for SMMs. Through this program, Department of Energy is seeking to strengthen the existing ecosystem supporting small and medium-sized manufacturers from the federal government, as well as local, state, and national resources. We were excited to announce the first round of projects selected under this program in September of 2023. MESC selected 12 projects for a total of $22 million in federal funds, listed and shown here on the map. As you can see, this first cohort of projects consisted of both new programs and the expansion of existing programs, which will allow all projects to collectively benefit from the lessons learned of the existing programs. Additionally, while all 12 projects will be providing smart manufacturing support, 4 projects will also include support for small and medium-sized manufacturers to access high-performance computing resources. Since September, MESC has been working with each of these states through the award negotiation process. We are excited to have 11 of the 12 state projects awarded and underway as of today, with the remaining one selected project expected to be awarded very soon. I just wanted to take a chance to highlight the great impact that we are anticipating from these round 1 projects. As you can see, across the 12 projects, this program will be supporting 3,500 small and medium-sized manufacturers, with everything from workforce development, training and upskilling of new and current workers, workshops and webinars to increase awareness of the benefits of smart manufacturing technologies, facility assessments for small and medium-sized manufacturers to identify opportunities for smart manufacturing technology improvements, and direct financial assistance to small and medium-sized manufacturers to implement the smart manufacturing improvements or utilize high-performance computing resources that will ultimately improve their facilities' efficiency, operations, and product quality. On the left and right of the screen, we've highlighted just a few exciting categories of partners that are part of this project, of all of these projects, that will collectively enhance and integrate the existing robust ecosystem of support for American small and medium-sized manufacturers. On the left, you can see the broad national level resources that include 12 NIST Manufacturing Extension Partnerships, or MEP centers, part of the NIST MEP National Network, 5 industrial assessment centers housed at 4-year universities across the country and part of our office, MESC's Industrial Assessment Center program, 9 different Manufacturing USA institutes, as well as a national laboratory. On the right, you can see the regional and community-centric organizations critical to the success of these projects that will ensure the training, credentialing, and overall opportunities will equitably develop the American industrial workforce in these states. With that, I'd now like to introduce and welcome Bill Donahue, Executive Director of GenEdge Alliance, Virginia's NIST MEP Center and awardee from the first round of the State Manufacturing Leadership Program, to share about their project at the Virginia Smart Manufacturing Accelerator. Bill, welcome. If you can come on camera, the floor is yours. Bill, I don't think we're hearing you just yet.
I've got the control now. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Bill.
And good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great day today. And my name is Bill Donahue. I'm the Executive Director of GenEdge Alliance. And we are the operator of the Virginia Manufacturing Extension Partnership in Virginia. When we had the opportunity to consider participating in this program, we were quite frankly super excited. I think many of the folks who are on this webinar today understand the challenges that SMMs have to understand and adopt some of the marvelous technologies that are coming out and are available today. So given the fact that we have a state which has a heavy amount of super resources available, we put together a very, very broad and capable team, including Virginia as well as national resources, to help us accelerate the implementation of smart manufacturing into our SMM base in Virginia. So we really had 2 challenges and 2 opportunities that we chose to go after. First was that acceleration of deployment of smart manufacturing technologies with SMMs, really helping them to digitally connect and manage their systems and their facilities and supply chains, and also to democratize the use of high-performance computing. We are fortunate that the Commonwealth has just invested in supercomputer resources that are available at the Commonwealth Center for Advanced Computing. And so with the university team that we were able to bring in for this program, it gave us an opportunity to be able to also include access to those resources that typically an SMM would never have the capability to get to. This allowed us to bring Virginia's applied research organizations out of CCAM and ODU and VSU and Virginia Tech, as well as Virginia Commonwealth University. We were fortunate to include Sesme. We're a member of the Sesme group. They bring the skills of the Manufacturing USA network to bear in smart manufacturing. We are an industrial assessment center capable institution. We have worked with the IAC networks now for almost 15 years. And we're really excited about the fact that we have the ability to also partner with institutions like the IAC out of West Virginia, as well as the IAC out of Georgia Tech, to be able to help us as we utilize that capability, which we really at this time don't have natively available in Virginia. Apprenticeships are a really great opportunity to begin to inculcate what smart manufacturing means as we look at how to help not only industries, but to help the workforce pipeline to be able to adopt energy engineering and smart manufacturing technologies into the workforce that's streaming into these businesses. And finally, when we look at VISMA, we understand that we have dual deliverables as part of this program. One being the fact that we will be serving predominantly industrial businesses who are large consumers of energy, and as a byproduct, are large generators of less than desirable emissions. This gives us an opportunity to benefit both our local communities, our challenged communities, and in some aspects nationally by the byproducts of these services helping us to reduce our energy consumptions, shift to greener resources, and provide new products in a more capable, a greener, and a more carbon neutral means. When we look at the deliverables that our team's going to help us pull together, smart technology awareness is incredibly important because we've identified that one of the challenges that we have to get companies to adopt these technologies is to get the owners and the operators educated. This is one of those things that we've been able to learn through our MEP national network operations, and we know that we've got to get to those owner operators so that they understand the opportunities and the fact that we can help de-risk those opportunities and raise the probability of success. Our educational partners, through the applied technical research that they have done, are helping us to build smart technology education workshops for demonstration and engagement in using the technologies that they have built, some Sesme products, and commercial off-the-shelf offerings. We can't get there, however, unless we've got a good pipeline of SMT education. And through the assistance of ODU and others, we will be actually developing modules for high schools, technical schools, apprenticeships, and community colleges using a platform model so that we can make available to our workforce pipeline resources a type of technical training needed to allow for us to get the skill set into industry to allow industry to successfully adopt, manage, and utilize these technologies. When we think about how we deliver results, in addition, we plan to work with about SME companies and delivering at least 30 assessments of their facilities on smart manufacturing, energy, environment, and economy topics, giving at least 30 companies smart manufacturing road mapping services that gives them a blueprint of how they can successfully adopt these technologies. I think you heard earlier about the great opportunities that we have through the Department of Energy to help companies receive grants to be able to help offset the investment costs. Well, in fact, in Virginia, we also have the ability to work with our power companies like Appalachian Power, who have similar programs that allow companies to tap into funding to accomplish the same goals. And then finally, getting access to that Z16 supercomputer at the Commonwealth Center for Advanced Computing. We're super excited about that. Doing that through a cyber secure, AI enhanced dedicated cloud that has the protection that companies need to enable them to use these assets for things like the analysis of how to improve product cycles better through the building and utilization of digital twins. And finally, and most importantly, I believe in this whole entire effort, are the benefits to our communities. We know a lot of our communities, particularly in rural and some of our urban centers, have been ravaged due to the loss of manufacturing over the last 30 years. Well, as we rebuild it and as we reshore it, this opportunity for us to build these businesses using a new model, a carbon neutral model, one that provides excellent remuneration and benefits for the advantage of the entire community in general. We know that this combination of government, industry, and our citizens makes an awful lot of sense. We're really, really glad to be part of this network of the first 12 institutions and teams that are moving forward. Thanks, Alex, for giving me a few minutes to share. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you to Gen Edge Alliance, and we're very excited for Virginia's program to be part of that first cohort as well. With that, I'd now like to introduce Miguel Corcio from the Clean Energy Smart Manufacturing Innovation Institute, or Sesme, a Manufacturing USA institute. Sesme will be working with MESC to help implement the State Manufacturing Leadership Program. As I'm sure Miguel will explain, Sesme has deep expertise in smart manufacturing and is an ideal partner to work with this program to not only help MESC ensure the overall success of the program, but support the state projects directly with support, such as providing access to existing training tools and resources to accelerate their smart manufacturing programs, review and advise on classes, curricula, and certification programs to improve the quality of training materials and ensure that they are up to industry standards, and facilitating communities of practice across the cohort of state projects to share best practices and identify cross-cutting needs. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Miguel.
Thank you, Alex. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Miguel Corcio. I am the Director of Technical Programs here at Sesme. We call ourselves the Smart Manufacturing Institute. And today I will provide a brief overview of Sesme. I know some of you are already familiar with us and we have done some work in the past, but we'll just go through some of the main highlights of the Institute. To tell the story of Sesme, it's basically to talk about three main areas, focus areas that we've been concentrating over the last 5 to 7 years. The first one is really just the development of smart manufacturing technologies. And we focus on addressing industry problems that have yet to be solved. Our collaborative approach has led to the creation of smart manufacturing building blocks and significantly impact manufacturing. Our portfolio of projects right now comprises over 50 projects, and we have been developed a lot of SM solutions that we call ourselves reusable outcomes, and we're ready to share with the rest of the industry. These outcomes have demonstrated a reduction in energy utilization by between maybe 10 to 25% in industries like steel, cement, and which could be easily be deployed in some other industries as well. Additionally, they have been shown improvements in energy productivity. We have seen increases in quality, yield, and a very significant reduction in waste across various industries. The second focus area that we have at Sesme is the acceleration of smart manufacturing adoption in small and medium manufacturers, and obviously the supply chain. By utilizing the different SM tools, we have achieved between 25 to 50% reduction in SM implementation costs. This has resulted in increased performance and productivity in SMMs, enable them to positively impact the supply chain. Great stories of engagement and collaboration has been, going around with all the factories and all the different industries that we work with, and we're sharing those with the rest of the community. The third pillar, what we call it, the third main focus area for us has been the workforce development. Obviously, the first one and the second one wouldn't be possible without concentrating efforts also in the workforce development. We have aimed to upskill the workforce through education and training. We have been working together with other teams. We have developed SM training programs for both the current and future workforce. We now offer full college degrees in smart manufacturing, as well as certifications and micro-credential programs that can be implemented nationwide in many different universities and locations. Now, if you can see, I'm trying to summarize all the different tools and everything that we've done in Sesme over the last few years. But the main question, I guess, at this point is how are we going to disseminate all these smart manufacturing solutions and tools that we have created? Well, Sesme, one of the ways we do it is Sesme works with what we call the Smart Innovation Centers to disseminate these solutions and share those knowledge through the network that we have implemented. Programs like this one, the State Manufacturing Leadership Program, and some other ones are examples of how we're disseminating this information, these tools, and the solutions that we have been able to deliver. Our commitment to smart manufacturing is evident in the tools and solutions we provide, which include, some of the ones that Alex mentioned previously, workshops to raise awareness of SM technologies. We do a lot of training curricula and tools. We do SM roadmap assessments, sharing of best practices. We also review and advise on SM approaches for technology, workforce developments, assessment, resources, etc. Outreach events is another one that we do with a lot of our network, events to share industry use cases and cross-cutting technologies. Leading and facilitating networking among industry, academia, and government to establish a common framework for smart manufacturing leadership. We have also been able to establish a library of smart manufacturing technologies, training resources, and tools that we can make available to the network that we work with. As you can see, there's a lot of things that we can talk about in terms of what we have done at Sesme and what we're doing and what we're involved with. Let me just finish by saying that we're really excited about, looking forward and working with the manufacturing and energy supply chains and programs like this one to continue implementing smart manufacturing technologies and resources across the country, because we feel that this is the path forward, and we are basically engaged in a lot of the new discoveries and support and training, as well as the technology that is emerging from all of those efforts that we have put together in the past. So I wanted to just make it short. Obviously, we have a lot of information in our website. You're welcome to join us and take a look at some of the information that we have there. It's very easy to remember, sesme.org. And you will find a little bit more on what I just mentioned and some examples of these use cases that I've been mentioning in the different technologies and industries that we've been working with. So with that, Alex, I think I'm going to turn it back to you. I hope this is give everybody a kind of a very general overview of Sesme, and I hope I continue working with everyone and sharing those wonderful things that we have discovered.
Miguel, thank you so much for all of that information about Sesme.
Thank you.
And now I want to introduce Amanda McAlpin, Supply Chain Deployment Manager for Batteries and Critical Materials. She'll be presenting on the Battery Collection, Recycling, and Reprocessing Program. Amanda.
Thank you, Laura. As you probably heard in comments from the previous speakers, our vision here at MESC is to eliminate vulnerabilities in the U.S. clean energy supply chains, while also driving economic, social, and environmental impact. Within our batteries and critical materials group, we're focused on a domestic circular economy in this area. That includes cradle-to-grave supply chain efforts all the way through recycling. Recycling is such an important part of this puzzle in that any materials that we recycle are an immediate domestic supply. Each of us has so many electronic devices that use batteries right now that contain critical materials, things like lithium, cobalt, and nickel. And right now, only about 5% of these types of batteries are ending up being properly recycled. If we increase that number, we could make a big impact on the critical materials needed for domestic EV battery production. I'm sure most of you can think of a drawer at home with several old cell phones, iPods, or cameras that don't work. Even things like children's toys, selfie sticks, and small kitchen appliances have these batteries, and they often end up in a landfill. So we need to get these out of the junk drawers and back into our supply chain. Doing this will also help lessen our need to rely on foreign sources of those materials. So to support these initiatives, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law has provided $192 million in funding towards recycling batteries from consumer products. And today I want to talk to you about one of the most recent programs in that area, funding for states for battery collection, recycling, and reprocessing. This provides $50 million, which is open to state, local, and regional municipalities to create or to enhance collection programs for batteries in consumer products. These programs will focus on all the steps up to the actual chemical process of recycling. So it's about getting the batteries out of the consumer's hands and to the right place. So this covers programs like stationary collection units, mobile collection units, sorting containers, events around the collection, and the establishment or expansion of the programs containing these. The overall goal with this funding is for state and local governments to increase the number of battery collection, recycling, and reprocessing programs and enhance consumer participation in these. We also want to improve the economics of battery recycling to create a market for recycling activities with innovative and practical approaches. There is up to $10 million available for each of these grants. However, that must be met with a 50% cost share. Next slide, please. A little more about this funding. This funding, or the process for this funding, is in the form of competitive proposals and is specifically for states and local governments or municipalities. Of course, partnerships are allowed and encouraged, but the government entity must be the lead on the proposal. Some projects are a partnership between several local municipalities, for instance, several counties who partner together to submit a proposal that covers a wider region. The funding can either be set up as a completely new program or to add on or enhance an existing program. So that might look like an increasing the number of collection sites in an area, expanding to new areas of the region, collecting more types of batteries, or holding collection events more often. It could also look like adding an education and outreach component to your existing program. For instance, if your program or current program hasn't gotten much participation so far, and you want to send out flyers or create signage to market the program and educate the consumers about it. Outreach and education are an important part of these projects. Many people don't know the types of batteries that can be recycled. They don't know where to go to do it or how to do it safely. So we see this as very important for these programs. And of course, the programs funded through this include robust community benefits. That includes things like creating jobs, hiring local workforce or subcontractors, and using resources from the community instead of going somewhere else. It also includes working with the communities that you serve, perhaps partnering with community groups so that you know what is needed in those communities and are providing an actual needed service. And also making sure resources go to underserved communities in your region, perhaps putting more collection sites in an underserved community where transportation is difficult could be an illustration of that. And the projects funded should be offered to no cost at the consumer. Again, this is about getting as many batteries as possible back into our supply chain. Next slide. So the first round of this application was opened in summer of 2023, and DOE selected 6 projects to enter into negotiation for funding. You can see those on the map here on the slide. I'll tell you just a little about each proposed projects in the hope that this might cause you to think of a similar project that might be needed in your region. In the state of Oregon, the Lane County Public Works Waste Management Division submitted a project to deploy a new safe storage battery sorting facility at one of their stations with which has a capacity of 60,000 batteries. They'll add 11 new retail used battery collection points, execute at least 6 household hazardous waste roundup events, provide outreach and education to approximately 400,000 county residents, and increase battery collection by at least 20,000 pounds per year. And one notable thing about this project is that they are reaching 100% of the population of that county by providing a battery collection site accessible to anyone who lives there. The state of Minnesota, their pollution control agency, submitted a project to provide fire suppression supplies and safe indoor and outdoor storage for batteries collected from the public by county and tribal collection programs. This particular project is a great example of several counties within the state all working together to submit one proposal to create an effective program that will cover a wide region in their state. The Illinois Environmental Protection Agency is going to increase the number of household battery collection sites by at least 250 sites, one in every municipality with more than 10,000 residents, as well as one in every county without such a municipality. They're going to execute at least 1,200 additional one-day battery collection events around the state that are available to residents, and increase battery collection by at least 60 million lithium-ion equivalent batteries during the course of their project. In New York, Onondaga County Resource Recovery Agency designed and constructed will construct fire-safe sorting facilities to support battery chemistry prior to their delivery to the recycling facilities. The sorting facility will include a fireproof short-term storage area for damaged, defective, and recalled batteries, those that can be so hazardous, and they will be accessible to pre-trained firefighters to improve safety and reduce fires. And finally, in Merced County in California, their Regional Waste Management Authority will conduct education and outreach to increase constituent awareness about the importance of responsible battery disposal and recycling, and will establish battery drop-off locations at locations such as libraries, government offices, and community centers in California. I did skip the mobile battery drop-off project submitted by the New York City Department of Sanitation because we'll have a special guest speaker to cover that one. Next slide, please. And just one last piece of information before I turn this over. Here are some additional battery resources for you as you're thinking about recycling in your area, or possibly even putting together a battery recycling program. These links will be available when we share this webinar. And now I'll turn it over to our special guest who will talk to you about the project they have submitted for this funding and are now in negotiations for. You can go to the next slide and we'll have Lauren Kupper, who is a project manager for the New York City Department of Sanitation. Lauren, are you on the call?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Great.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Lauren Kupper. As Amanda said, I am a project manager with the New York City Department of Sanitation, and I'm going to go over our project for the battery recycling grant. Next slide, please. So our program will be a mobile battery drop-off event. Our goal is to hold 40 events per year all over the city, and the project will be for 5 years. So our goal is to collect 7,000 pounds of batteries per year. We also have an outreach component to the project where we'll send a mailer to 3 million households in the city to give information about the events and the importance of battery disposal in a safe way. And then we will also have every year after the first project period, we'll do a social media campaign, and the goal is 1 million impressions, which is just the number of views. So we currently have larger scale hazardous household waste collection events with a partner. We have a contract in place to do these events already, but our goal is to have more mobile events where we can really bring the battery collection to more locations around the city, making it more convenient for New Yorkers, especially since so many New Yorkers don't have personal vehicles. So by providing more opportunities and more convenient opportunities to get rid of batteries safely, our goal is to reduce the amount of fires that we've seen over the past few years caused by lithium-ion batteries on our tracks, as you can see in the picture, and also at our transfer facilities. So we will reduce fires and improve safety of residents and sanitation workers. Next slide, please. So this is our estimated budget for the project. The first year, we will be purchasing a truck that will be used as the mobile unit for the duration of the project. We'll also have the cost of operating and staffing 40 events per year, and then marketing budget for the mailers and outreach each year. And there is a 50% local match that we will be using our local budget for. Since we applied for this grant funding, we did have budget cut. So unfortunately, we had to reduce the number of larger hazardous waste collection events we had this year. We are doing 5 instead of our typical 10. So the Department of Energy funding is even more important so that we can provide more options to safely dispose of batteries. We have the contract in place and we have experience running these events, but the funding is really going to help us launch the program. So we are excited to work with DOE, and that is all from me. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for your participation in today's webinar. So we are now going to answer some of the questions that were posed during the presentation. If we are unable to answer your question at this time, we encourage you to review the program's websites for more information about the first rounds of these programs, or to reach out to us at our program email address listed here. So we can either answer your question directly or set up time to discuss how your state or local government could take advantage of these great opportunities. So as you can see at the bottom in the center of this slide, we have the 2 email inboxes here, the State Manufacturing Leadership and the Battery Recycling email. On the bottom left-hand side, there's a hyperlink that you can click on, and it will ask for your email address to sign up for newsletters. So if there's any announcements or any information, any updates that you want to receive, this is a really good place to sign up and get those. There's also a QR code on the bottom right where you might be able to get some information as well. Okay, and then I'll start kicking it off. So to start us off, we have a few questions, and let me just read through this for a second. I'm going to kick this one over to Alex. Does the State Manufacturing Leadership Program prioritize projects that support a particular industry, smart manufacturing technology, or type of support to small and medium-sized manufacturers? Alex, would you like to take that one first? And then we'll switch over to a few questions that I think Amanda can handle from the battery side.
Great, thanks, Laura. Good question. So the first round of the State Manufacturing Leadership Program did not prioritize any particular industry or smart manufacturing technology or a particular type of support for SMMs. The FOA was broad to really allow the applicants to identify where they thought the greatest needs were for the manufacturers in their particular state. There are some projects we're supporting that under round 1, they chose to prioritize a particular industry in their state, while others focused on supporting particular geographies. Other projects are industry, technology, and geographic agnostic, looking to support a broad spectrum of manufacturers across their state.
Okay, thanks, Alex. So another question that was posed, is there a way this could be used to help retailer collection. And this was in regards to the battery collection and recycling and reprocessing program. So Amanda, do you mind handling that one, please?
Yes, sure. You may be referring to another pot of funding under the same umbrella that provides funding for retailers to implement battery recycling collection programs as well. However, these are two separate programs and they should be treated or she could be kept completely separately. So the lead for anyone who will be doing a project through this should be a government municipality, local state government.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I am reading through some of these questions. There have been questions about the sharing information about the applications, and I'll handle that one. So the DOE is unable to share examples of full applications for funding for any program. The slides in this webinar will be shared and will be included with a link to publicly available summaries of different projects, of all projects, excuse me, selected for negotiation. So I hope that answers your question regarding seeing examples. Let's see. Okay, so there's a question again to you, Amanda. I'm going to read it out loud for the group. Understanding that the focus is on lithium batteries, would the grants also allow alkaline batteries that might be collected along with lithium batteries?
Yes, so the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law provisions defines the term battery as something that consists of one or more electrochemical cells that are electrically connected and is designed to store and deliver electric energy. So yes, this could allow for that and sorting as well.
I think there's a lot of excitement about the battery collection and recycling. Let's see, there's questions about qualifying, and the one I'm going to read from more recently, can local governments partner with local lithium mining or refining company for battery collection, recycling, and reprocessing grant? Amanda?
It's a little bit hard to answer this question without any open funding opportunities right now. So it would kind of depend on the way the future funding was structured and the exact type of entity that they're talking with. Again, however, we do encourage partnering with entities who you need to make a successful program. So if you need an additional organization to be a subcontractor to support your program, then that would be allowed.
Okay, thank you. Reading the next question. Okay, there are questions about timing. I'm going to kind of summarize these in one overall encompassing question, which is when will funding be available? And I'm going to add a question to that. How can we hear about more funding if and when it becomes available? Okay, I'll take that since I have that answer ready. We do recommend subscribing to the MESC newsletter. At this point, we can't say definitively if or when funding is becoming available, but if you are signed up for the newsletter, it will come out via that medium if you have any questions. So we have the mailbox here. We had the QR code for clicking on and signing up for, and the newsletter is the best way to stay on top of announcements like that. Okay. Reading through the questions again. Okay, so we are seeing a lot of very specific types of questions about like eligibility and what would be eligible for funding. If you do have questions about what qualifies for funding in the battery collection, Amanda, do you want to just kind of take an overarching stab at this type of question, like, materials or let's see what types of batteries still, if they can't be removed, if they're stuck in a device, if they're defective or damaged, topics like that, please.
Yes, so as of course a caveat to begin with, we do not have any open funding at this time, so I can't speak to what would be required in the open funding. Once funding is released, of course, that is all open to everyone, and you can clearly read what particular parts are allowed in that. So I would, make sure that you're signed up for our mailing list and read each funding opportunity as it comes out. I would encourage, if you are a state, local government, and municipality, to definitely get on our mailing list and pay attention to what's available. There is more funding in the same program that I talked about that has not been dispersed yet. And these again can go up to 10 million in funding, and we don't really have a technical lower limit, but as little as a few tens of $1,000s have been requested. So if you're thinking that you're too small of an entity to submit a proposal, think about partnering with some other municipalities in your area to submit a bigger one, but also know that smaller proposals are fine as well. And then as far as particular battery chemistries, please just pay attention to the particular funding opportunity when it comes out through our listserv.
Thank you, Amanda. Okay, we have about 1 more minute left in this webinar, and I am going to focus on one last question here. And please remember that we are seeing all of the questions in the chat here, and we will consolidate them and reflect on them separately as well, and that you can still sign up through the link to our newsletter or email one of those 2 email boxes that we have in the webinar. We will be posting this webinar for folks to be able to access that link. Okay, so what type or size of local municipalities are a good fit for this funding? Alex?
I can
think that
definitely
might be
take that one. Yes, since that might be referring to the battery recycling program, since we are aimed at state and local municipalities. And again, size does not restrict you from applying for one of these funding announcements, as long as you can fit within the defined application amounts. So if you do, however, think that you might be low on resources on your end, I do suggest partnering with other local municipalities, or for instance, within your region.
Okay, well, with that concludes our time for today. Alex, if you had anything to weigh in on the state and the government.
Yeah, I mean, I just, in closing comments, we're extremely excited about not only the first round of state manufacturing leadership, but all the great work across battery collection, recycling, and reprocessing. Really great first rounds for both of these programs. And as we've said before, stay tuned for future funding opportunities.
Laura, if you don't mind if I jump in one more time, because I did see one more question pop up, and that's something that I do often get, so I wanted to address that. The 50% cost share, yes, that is mandated by the Bipartisan Infrastructure language, so we cannot change that. What many have found is that, again, as I said, partnering with other local entities might give you a little bit more flexibility with the funding that you have available on your side. We usually also, when we send out or when we release a funding opportunity grantee application, we do usually list examples of teaming partners that you could partner with to apply for that funding. So just being a little bit more creative in thinking of how that 50% cost share might be met, and looking at some examples of projects that have already been awarded funding.
Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone, for your participation, your attendance, your great questions. And if you have any more questions, please stay in touch through the email boxes or sign up for our newsletter to see if there's any, exciting news about funding or other information coming out soon. Thank you so much.